Yay! It's always a privilege, always a pleasure, always a delight to come your way. And it is with excitement to come your way again. I am Chidi Akunna.
And I'm Victor Akunna.
If you're new to our channel, this is Foundation for Family Affairs. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell next to it so you're notified when we drop our lovely content. Yes, I must say so. At Foundation for Family Affairs, our mission is to connect hearts and raise healthy families.
Families.
And it is exciting, the transformation we see in marriages and homes. Such a delight. You want to say hello?
Yeah, I want to say hello to you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. We have something quite interesting that we want to talk about today because sometimes people say, I don't know what I'm doing. My spouse seems to be withdrawing from me. I don't know where we are getting it from. So this topic is for you. What do people do that ruin intimacy? Sometimes when people are building intimacy, they're just this general understanding or general expectation that marriages will not, all be, rosy, rosy all all through,
All the way.
all the way. Sometimes people will think that marriages should not, even though if it's going poorly. I want to remind you that it's not going to be like that all through. There are specific things that people are doing that are creating specific experiences. And so that's why we're highlighting a few of them today.
Yes. I mean, we bring all this content week after week, week in, week out, because we know that when we say we know, we have seen.
Yeah.
Okay, marriages transform. All right. So if you're at that point, like he was saying, there is hope. There's still hope. Okay. So we'll be talking about 5 ways couples ruin intimacy. And the first point we have for you today is holding on to the past. Hey, you may have an issue that has been dealt with, an issue that has been talked about, but you still have something off, about it. Each time you think about it, and it makes you resent your spouse. It makes you really upset. Apart from the fact that in itself has damaging effect on you, it could have negative impact on you as a person. On your health, on it just leads to bitterness, but it can ruin intimacy. All right. If I have something in mind against him, I would not, just be free with him as I would normally. All right, because at that point I'm just looking at him and thinking of, oh, he did this to me the other day, and he did that to me. It just drives a wedge between you.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why we always emphasize that issues must be addressed. Issues must be addressed. Yes, there are times that you may not feel up to it. Okay, you're so upset and you feel, if I talk now, I'm going to regret most of the things I will say. You call time, but make sure you revisit that matter. Whoever calls time should call for a meeting. Okay, when you feel better, you go back to the other person and say, I think we need to talk about this. By all means, make sure that every issue is addressed. Don't sweep issues under the carpet.
The beauty of marriage is that it helps you to also develop some level of maturity. So if you've been this solo person who just like to be by themselves, it's not going to work effectively in marriage because you have to resolve issues. You have to develop the language to resolve issues. There are languages you can't use, languages that even escalate things. So the ability to, the desire, or you must be intentional about letting go of issues. That's what I'm trying to say. Without you addressing issues, you can't really travel very far. Forget about marriage. Any relationship, if you have a relationship with someone and you guys have something you've not addressed, it's either you are relating with that person hypocritically, or because you're just managing the person because you need something from the person. The thing about marriage is that your spouse knows you so well. My spouse, I say, where I'll do my face. My wife knows that I'm happy about this, I'm not happy about this. She can read my face. So if you are going to be in a marriage with someone, you must be intentional about letting go of issues. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have the rights. All right. So, for example, she does something, you have the right to be angry, yes. But you have to find a way to work on that issue to be able to move on. Because the thing about not moving on from an issue is that it keeps that relationship in a certain at that point. It cannot scale to the next phase, right? Because that issue has not been addressed, especially if it's something really fundamental. It has to be addressed. All right. So how you go about addressing it is a different thing. You need to find what works for your relationship. Some people want to address it on the spot. Some people know that, oh, you know what? I can't address this now.
Yeah.
Can we, come up with a way that
Yeah.
will, as you go along, you know what we have a specific way of addressing issues within our relationship that works for us. All right. So, but you find what works for you. But the principle here is this: make sure you address issues. Otherwise, you're going to keep coloring every other thing that you do.
I like that. Very good. Okay, so the next point we have for you is being judgmental.
Yeah.
Okay, and when we talk about being judgmental, it's just you reaching a conclusion or an opinion on a thing, often in a harsh or critical way. All right. You just focusing on the negative things your spouse does. All right. You always do this, you always do that. You're criticizing, but it's not constructive at all. All right. And as long as, like we often say, whatever you focus on gets magnified.
Yeah.
All right. You focus on the thing, it gets bigger. If I'm focusing on just the bad things, just the negative things he does in the relationship, it would be so big that in no time I'll forget that he does good things.
Yes.
He has other good attributes. There must be something good about your spouse. Okay, so we're not in any way excusing bad behavior.
Yeah.
No. All right, but there's a way to go about this thing. Does your spouse even ever think that you have any good things to say about him, or you even perceive him as good? It is, there are spouses like that where they just feel that in this marriage, all I hear are negative things. There's never a good thing she says about all I do. All right. The essence of this, now, when we put points like this out, it's just for you to query, to begin to look into your relationship. Are there some of these? Do I do some of these things? Okay, or have I begun to do them? And then check them really fast before the real thing. That in itself can bring intimacy.
Yeah. Nobody wants to live with someone that constantly, just says negative stuff from beginning. People want to come home to relax. People want to come home to bond, to just be themselves, to be silly if they want to be silly, to laugh if they want to laugh, not to come to the point where you have almost like someone like a police officer chasing and trying to emphasize everything you do. No. People want to hear positive words. People want to be lifted up. People want to be exalted. People want to be eulogized. All right. So be that voice in your spouse's life that says something positive to them. All right. That's very, very important. Yeah.
Even when it's like they've not done right, or they failed, or not met up to your expectation, there's a way to go about it. Okay. Start with the positive. You may even want to do what they call the sandwich method, which is you start with something good he does. Okay. Bring in the bad thing that you think he's currently doing, which you're not happy about, and finish off with something good. All right. So the next point we have for you is prioritizing your needs. Prioritizing your needs. When we're talking about this point, I asked the question, and I was like, are you saying it's bad to prioritize one's needs? And you asked me a question and said, is it marriage then? Is it marriage? If it's marriage, everybody's needs must be prioritized. Okay, everyone in that relationship has needs, and those needs must be prioritized. Look at it from the perspective of us, not me. All right, it's about us now. It's about the team. Okay, and in saying this, there are in our relationship, in our marriage, there are times where it's not convenient not to prioritize your needs. You want something, but thinking about it as us, as the marriage, we then begin to realize that, okay, giving an example, if it's something I want to spend on, all right, at that point, if I do that, it may affect the vision we have for the marriage in that area. And so that need must be paused for the time.
One of the goals of a good marriage is becoming one. It's a process where you guys are coming from two different orientation about life, worldview, but you love each other and you want to build a life together. You now need to begin to learn how to begin to build that connection, build that whole relationship, build that intimacy. So one of the ways to build intimacy is when you prioritize the need of the other of your spouse. So when your spouse looks at you and your spouse just knows that whatever decision you're making is in the best interest of the marriage, not for your own selfish need. I think it was John, what's the name of that? Jimmy Evans that was saying that marriage is built brutal on selfish people. The reason for that simple is that if you're getting into marriage just for what you're going to get from it, oh, your spouse is going to so give you stress. Why? Because they will come to that point where they will just realize that this guy just think about himself.
Yeah.
And so what do you think that will do to the spouse? She too will begin to self-preserve, do things about herself. All right. So, and that, what does that create? That disintegrates the whole thing. So what we're talking about today are the little things that we do deliberately, maybe because of how we were raised, the examples we've seen, but you don't realize that you are the one creating the experiences that you're having in your relationship. See, your spouse seems to hide money from you. Maybe there's a reason why they're hiding. Maybe it's something from their own past. But also, there are specific things that we might be doing that may be creating some kind of experiences that we are not happy about. So let's have a look. We're not trying to call anybody out. We're just trying to pull out something and be in your blind spot so that you can see, okay, you can just kind of rate yourself to say, do I do this or do I do that? Okay, my wife does this. How do I communicate it? Okay, I do that. How do I minimize this? That's the reason why we do some of the videos that we do.
Yes. Okay. So the next point we have today is dishonesty. And when we say this, there are different parts to it. There's the part of you not telling the truth. Yes, obviously you lie. Okay. But there's also the part of you withholding information. Information you know that your spouse should be aware of. And sometimes when this then is revealed or your spouse discovers later, it just leads to a very toxic state in the relationship. We're talking about what could ruin your intimacy. Okay, that in itself just breaches the trust in the relationship. It'll be difficult for your spouse to trust you. And you can't be vulnerable. We're talking about intimacy. You can't be one. You can't be get to the point where you truly are open with this person if trust has been breached. It is difficult. Okay, so it would take, we're not saying if trust has been breached, it's not possible, there's no remedy. Okay, but it would take you proving yourself again. All right. So when we say dishonesty, you may be saying, I don't lie. I say the truth. But the question too is there something you're withholding which your spouse should know about?
Yeah, sometimes people will withhold very important questions, important information. Maybe that they had a child or they have a child somewhere. That's something very, very important. Or they are in debt. You withhold that information. You say, I don't want it to hurt you. Or you say to your spouse, I'm going to XYZ. Yeah, you're actually going there, but the reason why you're going there is different. You know, these little things or huge things, as the case may be, they have a way of puncturing this trust that your spouse has. Because for people to interact or to be vulnerable with someone, there has to be trust. It has to be, there has to be trust. People will be guarded around in an environment that is unpredictable, that they don't know the outcome. You know, that's why you call, they don't know, they don't know what you will do in a situation. People are guarded around that kind of situation. But when they know that this is Victor's stance on this is Chidi's stance on this, that way, even if I'm unable to reach her, I already know her stance. I trust that she's going to stick with her stance. But if every time she said this is what she wants, and then I go to the market and she said, oh, but I didn't ask you to do this. What happened next time? I'll be guarded. It's either I call her or I try to. So that makes decision making longer, more cumbersome. All right. So if you are that kind of a person who withhold information because you don't want to be bogged down, or I don't know, different reasons people have for doing different things. So it's something that you have to consciously work on. All right. So don't be surprised that your spouse doesn't trust you. Your spouse doesn't open up to you. Your spouse is now guarded around you because there was a movie we were watching the other day, and these two people, we could see that they really, really love each other. But no matter how much the guy tries to connect with the lady, she was just always stressing him up. And one day she told him, he said, I don't know, you have a lot of secrets. You don't tell me anything. I don't know anything about you. How can I love you? That just captures it successfully.
Okay. So the last point we have for you today is poor money habit. Poor money habit. Are there habits could or maybe ruining things in your marriage? All right. Some of us have our spouses are not comfortable with the way we spend. Okay, and they're looking at you each time you go out. They have this, their BP goes up because they're thinking, "Whoosh, what bill is gonna come back?"
Yes.
That's not very good, because it just gets to that point where you're talking about people wanting to preserve, self-preserve.
Yep.
Okay, it will get to that point where you just make the other person start hiding things as well.
Yes.
Because the other will be like, oh, no, no, no. Or maybe not telling you, not disclosing all.
Yeah.
Because the person will be feeling, when you know I have money, then you know all these bills come rolling.
You invent your
rolling in.
expenses.
Yeah, so poor money habits. It could also be that as a family, we reach an agreement as to how to disperse our finances. And then something comes up. It might be good. It might be urgent. Okay. But without seeking the opinion of the other, you just go off and do it. That can really, really do a lot of harm to the intimacy in your marriage. Really.
Now, some people may say that some of these ideas are not conventional, they are not current. They're not contemporary. It's my money. I do what I want. We're talking about marriage. We're not talking about as individual. We're not talking about people who are just trying to get to know each other, dating. We're talking about couples who are married or who are living, who have a covenant with each other. All right. So they've gone all the way, they've gotten married, and now they are building their lives together. That's what we're looking at. So the rules are different from those who are just dating. There's no need for you to know how much I earn if you are dating. All right. Unless we've got to that point where I can say, you know what, I want to take the conversation to the next level. But as a couple, we believe that you should be transparent with each other on financial issues, because this is one of the reasons why people end up divorced. Where you have someone who has what do you call it now, debt that they have not disclosed, or someone who has a habit that is siphoning money. All right, so maybe someone has a gambling habit, for example, or someone has someone spend recklessly, from window shopping to actually entering the window and then buying. All this kind of creates a lot of, or sometimes people say, but the reason is good. I'm helping, sending money towards charity, or I'm helping this person. Even if some people, for example, just send money to family members, huge sum of money, and then leaving their own family hanging. All right. So your intentions are good, but the manner in which you are going about it is wrong. So you have to be able to make sure that you clarify that. Some people, for example, will steal money from their office and they say they are giving to their church. So that's really, really wrong. That's gross. All right. So you have to, in the context of marriage, whatever you've agreed financially, how you want to allocate things, make sure that is sorted. Make sure that your spouse is carried along, because they are equal partner. All right. Being a woman does not demean your position in marriage. It's equal partnership. Of course, we have leadership in terms of the man being the leader, but it doesn't mean that he's more important or his needs are more important. No. Contrary.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. So we have cut the points here to 5. You may have other points you think, oh, it would have been nice if they talked about this. We would like to read from you. You may want to drop it, the points in the comment section, and we'll be happy to read from you. This video may be of importance to people in your network. Okay, so feel free to share. You never know whose marriage you might be helping out. It might just be a looming question they do not have answers to. It might help. You might be helping out. So partner with us on this journey. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, hey, what are you waiting for? Please hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified when we drop these lovely content.
Absolutely.
You want to say something?
Yeah, let's get the conversation going. Let's keep connecting. All right. So we have different social handles on YouTube, Foundation Family Affairs, on Facebook group, same name. We are on Instagram as well, Foundation Family Affairs. Let's keep the conversation going. Connect with us. I would like to connect with you as well.
All right. So until we come your way again, it's goodbye from us.